Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another DreamWorld video, and this week's is possibly the most bizarre one I've got yet. First things first, if you've been enjoying the DreamWorld videos, please consider subscribing to this channel. We're pushing towards 30k, and I think you'll enjoy the other things I have on this channel as well. Right, this week's patch notes. Now, there's not much here, I want to pre-warn you, but this is not even the main focus of this video. First of all, their devs that left them are back for a second term of work. And it shows because there's an actual update in this update. Magic, Craft Holy Nova, Fireball, and more at the spell bench. Now, I didn't get to test this out, and I'll show you why in a bit. However, this magic was done by the devs that came back, so I'm fully confident that it works. New Mana Potion, craftable at the Alchemy bench. Yep, I did get to test this. It does work, because this was also done by the devs that returned. You now get a notification if you find a resource you've never come across before. This is the first bit of this update that wasn't done by the new developer that's come back. It's probably a 1 minute to 2 minute update. It's as simple as creating an array on the client, checking if an item that you've picked up is in the array. If it is not, add it to the array and notify the players they've found a new thing. If it is in the array, don't do anything. It's a 2 minute update and about 3 lines of code. Mac water crash fixed. Now, I theorized that only 30 people own this game. And I actually have some more solidity to that fact. Something I'll show you again in a little bit. The grand spectacle of this video. And I'm actually convinced that this was the first time someone has actually launched the Mac version of this client. Land sharks fixed. I have never seen a land shark. I don't doubt that that was an issue. This is probably a real issue that they actually fixed. Now, the reason you're all here. The guided tour. A lot of you are probably already calling clickbait. But it's real. I hopped in-game to get some final footage for this, which was going to be magic. And I got sidetracked. Massively. Because I log in right next to a brand new player that had just logged in. And his player number was somewhere in the high 20s, his automated name. I start talking to this guy. He tells me his friends are developers of the game, and they're going to be on to give him a guided tour. Now, when I asked who the friends were and he told me Zach and Garrison, I couldn't help but wait for this tour, because I insisted I would come along too. Now, while standing around, we somehow managed to die of starvation. And we didn't respawn. So instead we decided to discuss the finer things in life, such as how DreamWorld is just a jumble of assets, or how the collision is absolutely awful. Now, at this point, I had set my name to be completely blank, because that's something the game doesn't stop you from doing. So a few moments later, the legendary Zach and Garrison log in to DreamWorld. This is where Garrison came over to our lifeless corpses, wondering how he can help. He proceeds to tell us that the bug was fixed that day, which isn't much help, it being as the patch wasn't put out. It was then that I obviously asked, what do? To which Garrison responded, I don't know. I'll go ask Lotus. To which the resolution to this problem was just log out and log back in. To give you a context of how long this loading screen is to get into the game first, it was only while editing this video that I realised during this process of loading in, I managed to listen to an entire Hollywood Undead song. So, you know, that's a good solid 4 minutes of waiting to get in. After this, the tour began. The team took us off to a berry field to get food. This was located in the city, because we were already dying of hunger after immediately respawning back in. Next up on the tour was the forest. They led us into the forest and taught us how to gather dirt, which consisted of us rowing an invisible boat in a field. Honestly, there wasn't much point to this part of the tour, but we did it anyway. It was here that Garrison noticed that I didn't in fact have a name, and said, "You set your name to blank, haha? We might need to fix that." And I said, "First check a developer makes." He was like, "Too funny, smart." Honestly, it felt like I was talking to an AI at this point. I also might have landed myself a job with these guys as a blockchain developer. They're not hiring just yet, but I have been given a contact email. After this, I looked around a house that had every single type of material possible in it, including berries on the wall for some reason. Not sure about that one. Next up, Zach insisted that we went diving so that I could gather some coral. So that is exactly what we did. We gathered coral and seaweed. We proceeded to not use this ever again. After returning back to the main city, Zach decided he was going to show off the new airship. I asked him if it flew, and he told me to hop on board. Although this was short-lived as it completely disappeared into thin air for absolutely no reason. At this point, Zach was giving me my own personal guided tour while Garrison was giving the other guy one. This tour lasted an hour and 20 minutes in total, which was pretty crazy. Next stop was the... I can't even pronounce that and I'm not going to try. Basically the big hentai monster. Zach told me to watch its cool attack animations when he runs in. He ran in, and the boss didn't attack him, it just stared at him for a good 30 seconds. So that was a little bit awkward, but fun nonetheless. It was after this that Zach asks me if I'm dead. I told him no. He told me I looked dead, which is just as well because with the previous bug there's no surprises there whatsoever. Zach then takes me to see a castle in the sky, which honestly was just a bunch of floating rocks, but I appreciate the sentiment. It was around here that our tour ended. Zach put down a chest and gave me all his belongings for the night, which was a lovely gesture. This guided tour shows that they do in fact want people to enjoy their game, which causes very conflicting thoughts, because for the longest time I've been torn between them being runaway scam developers or just sheer incompetence. I have to say, recently I am just leaning towards sheer incompetence. Since this is the first time I've spoken to Zach and Garrison in the last 4 months, I'd like to try and arrange a sit-down chat with them. Now, obviously this wouldn't be a one-sided interview where I just rip into them, nor would it be like their previous interviews where we just praise the product that doesn't really exist. It would just be super intriguing to be able to sit down and have a chat with them, find out a bit of the thought process behind all the things that they do. Because while it makes absolutely no sense to us, I somehow have a feeling it makes sense to them. Ladies and gents, that is all we have time for today. If you're watching this as it premieres, we're going to be live playing an old game ready for next week's episode over on Twitch. So hop over and join in. A massive thank you to the patrons and the YouTube members. And as always, have an awesome day and a fantastic week. And I'll see you in the next one.